संग संग तुझे भी न चाहूं कजी। लो ये वाला दे दूँ, ये टीवी में नहीं लग सकता ना।
Good afternoon, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Good morning, sir. It is good evening, sir.
Morning, sir.
Good
Good evening, sir.
Can I know who has joined with this ID Lakshya?
Yes.
Lakshadya. Who is joined with this ID Lakshadya? Can I know your real name, dear?
Lakshadya, sir.
Beta, all of you, please put yourself on mute. Yes, who is joined with this ID Lakshadya? I'm not able to hear you.
Sir, I am Lakshaditya.
Beta, I don't think that there is any student. What is your number with which you have got yourself registered for these classes? Can you please tell me your number?
Sir, 9827332861.
Acha, okay. Actually, your number is saved with me with this Lakshita name. Okay. Fine. Now, all of you, please put yourself on mute. Who is there on mute right now? Karina, please put yourself on mute. So today what we are going to do, we are going to define logout and delete button first on this screen too. We are already done with defining the code for the sign-in screen. We're done with defining the code for connecting this sign-up screen with this sign-in screen. In case the user is already registered, has already registered his profile on this platform, so he don't have to put his email address and password over here again. He can just click on this button and he is going to get redirected on this screen one, right, where he can put his email ID and password with which he created his profile, and then can log in into this app. Now, once he is done with logging into this app, he is going to come on this screen too, right? Here I am going to define two buttons now, one for logout and the second for delete profile. If suppose a person want to delete his profile from this platform permanently, so for that I'm going to define a button. And if you want to log out from this app, for that also I'm going to define a button over here. So this one is for logout, logging out, okay, and this one is for delete profile. Okay, so there are two buttons. Now, how can we define the code for this logout button? So for that, again, we need to come here on this workspace, and from here we are going to begin today. So let's define an uneven block first over here. The ID of this button is logout, so we need to select logout from this cascading menu. And when the user will hit this logout button, I would like him to get redirected on which screen should I get him redirected?
Sign up.
Beta sign up, if I will get him redirected on the sign up screen, then what he will do, he will again create his profile on this platform. But I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Because his profile is already there on this platform. So instead of redirecting him on the sign up screen, we can redirect
Sir,
him
I know.
on the sign in screen. Right?
Yes.
We can redirect him on the sign in screen. So when the user will hit this logout button, which is there on this screen too, he is going to come on this screen one. Now, what is the issue in this code? Let me just show it to you that first practically. So I'm going to run this app and just try and understand this concept. Listen to me attentively and try and understand this concept clearly. So here, the user is going to come across sign up screen when he will access this app on his device. Here I'm going to register. Let's make use of this ID for registering a profile on this platform. So amita@gmail.com is ID I'm using, and this is a password I'm using for registering a profile. Let's hit this login button. Now here I can use the same ID again, amita@gmail.com, and the password with which I created the profile is amita123. Let's now hit this login button and see whether we'll be able to log in into this app or not. So we are able to log in into this app and we are on screen 2 right now. Now if we will hit this logout button, let's see what is going to happen. So if we'll hit this logout button, we'll come on the sign in screen. Now what is the thing which is not looking good on this screen?
So we should set text empty in both the components.
Absolutely right. You know, the values which we entered in these two components, they are still getting reflected over here. Let me just switch on my camera.
Yes.
So
the user can't make sure that he or she is logged out or not.
okay, so what we can do, we can set them to null. How can we set them to null? Again, I'm going to convert this into text-based coding first. And inside this on-event block, which I've defined for the logout button, inside that, I'm going to make use of set text. This is the one. So when the user will hit the logout button and come back on the sign-in screen, the thing which should get reflected over here in this component, the ID of which is email, it should be empty. There should be nothing in this component. So that's how I can do it. Okay. And similarly, I would like to do the same thing for this password field also. Okay. Now there are two more components where the person has entered his information while creating his profile. So it was absolutely right. So the same thing I'm going to do for these two components also. The idea of this component is email is in small of email. So that's how we can do it. Is in small. So you know, these small things make your app more interesting and more innovative. So just make sure whenever you are developing anything, try and keep these small things in your mind. So now everything will go empty. Who is this? Prabhas. Okay. Now let's run this app one more time and check whether this is working fine or not. So I'm going to create one more profile on this panel on this app. Can you all please put yourself on mute? You know, a lot of noise is coming from the background. Let's make use of this ID, sumit@gmail.com. Sumit123 is a password I'm entering over here. Sumit@gmail.com. Sumit123 is a password. Successfully logging. Successfully, I have come on this screen. Let's now hit this logout button and see. So the ID and the password is now no more visible to us. So this is perfectly fine. So that's how you can define the logout button. Let's now come back here. Okay, and remember this thing, these things which we have defined for the logout button, because we are going to use it several times, you know, in the apps which we are going to develop in the future coding classes.
Sir.
Let's now come back on this screen too. And now we are going to define the code for this delete profile button. Before coding this delete profile button, I would like to code for a label box, okay, which I am putting over here. And let me enlarge the size of this label box. And I am renaming it to ID. Okay, and text email address of the user. So, once the user is done with registering his profile on this sign up screen, he's going to come on this screen too. Sorry, he's going to come on this screen one. Now, when he will enter his email ID and password over here. So after that, when he'll hit this login button, he's going to come on this screen too. Now on this screen too, I would like his email ID to get reflected over here in this label box. For that, I'm coding now. Okay, I'm defining the code for that now. Before that, let me just bring it in the center. So for that, I can make use of this text alignment property, and that's how I can bring it in the center. Now let's come back on this coding part. Now, what is the name of the button for which is redirecting us on screen 2? The ID of that button is login. So we need to go on that buttons coding. This is a code. This is a code which we have defined for this login button. Now, when the user will hit this login button, whatever ID he has entered here in this component, I would like to fetch that ID and get it reflected on this label box which I have placed over here on screen 2. How can we do that? So, just at the point where this on event block is ending. This is a point where this on event block is ending, right? Just before that, I would like to make use of this set text property. Okay. And I am setting the text for which component. For this component, I am setting the text. The ID of this component is ID. So I need to put here ID only. Now from where can I get the email address of the user? I can get it from this component, not from this component, from this sign in, from this email component. So if you want to fetch the text from this component, the best way is to make use of this get text block. You can put it over here like this. And what is the ID of this component? It is email. So we can replace it with email. Fine. Now whatever ID the user is going to enter here, it is going to get reflected on this screen. Now when the user will hit this delete profile button, I would like his profile to get permanently deleted from this app. How can we do that? We need to come down. Okay. Now let's define an on event block for this button first. So for that, we need to make use of this on event and put it over here. The idea of this button is delete. D is in capital. Okay. And there is there anyone in the waiting room? Let me just check it. There is no one. So there is a block with which we can perform this operation, delete operation. And the name of that block is delete record. Okay, let's make use of this. I'm putting it here inside this on event block. Now listen to me attentively. Okay, what is the name of the table in which the user's profiles information is getting saved? It is users, right? So here in this, instead of this my table, we need to write down here users. Now this is working on what? This delete record works on ID. It doesn't take anything else. It works on IDs. Now how can we, who is this? Arohi. Okay. All of you please put yourself on mute. I'm still able to hear some noises from the background. Just please put yourself on mute because I'm not able to concentrate. So, now if you want to fetch the ID of the person whose email address is going to get reflected over here. For that, what you can do, can anyone tell me what is the trick or what is the thing?
Records blocks.
Absolutely right. The way we made use of read records block for updating the password, in the same way we can make use of read records block for deleting the profile from the table. So we are going to make use of this read records block, and we are going to put it before the delete record block. Okay, before this delete record block, we are going to put this read records. Now listen to me attentively. See, from where are we trying to fetch the records? We are trying to fetch it from users table. Okay, now what is the information I'm trying to fetch? I'm trying to fetch the information of the ID. I'm trying to fetch the ID number for the email address which is getting reflected over here. So how can I define that condition? I can make use of these two curly brackets for defining that condition. Now, what is the name of the column where the email IDs are getting saved? The name of the column is email. So what we need to do here, email colon get text. So the email should match with the ID which is getting reflected over here. Okay, so that's how we can define a condition in between these two curly brackets. Who is this? Kavya. Let's now eliminate this part of the code. Now here inside this for loop, the way we define the update block inside the for loop, in the same way we are going to define this delete record over here. Okay, now the ID should be equal to what? The ID should be equal to records I dot ID. Now this is going to give us the ID of which person? This is going to give
So
us the
I read it
ID.
out.
Just hold on for a moment, dear. This records I.id is going to give us the ID of this email address, which we have defined inside these two curly brackets. Okay. Now you guys can go ahead and ask your queries if you have any. Yes, dear.
Yes, sir. Where you can, like, in those curly brackets, you have defined this email, like, and delete records also ID, then records I.id. So why this records I, sir? Why we haven't placed any other something like except I?
Because dear, there is a for loop which is there in this read records block, and if you want to fetch something from a particular table and you are defining that code inside this read record blocks after this for loop, then you have to make use of this part, this thing, records I, in order to fetch the information from a particular column. Now the column from which we want to fetch the information, what is the name of that column? It is ID.
Users.
It is ID. It is not users. The name of the table is users, but the name of the column is ID. So, before this part here, I haven't made use of records I something. Why? Because I is not there. I is not there. Just a second. If you want to fetch some information using a code which you have defined inside this for loop, then you can do it using this code only. Remember this thing. Now let's run this app and check whether this is going to give us the correct output or not. But let me just run this app first, and after that I'm going to take your queries. Okay, where is that? And here I am on the table. Let me just delete this table because there are too many IDs which are present right now over here. Yeah. Now I'm going to run this app on a separate tab. So right at present, there is no table on this data browser. Let's create a profile first using this ID. This is a password which I'm using for creating the profile. So as you can see, a table has got created over here, and inside that table the information is also getting reflected with which I have created the profile. Now let's enter
Yes.
the same information over here.
Yes.
Let's log in into this app. So this ID is getting reflected over here now, with which I created the profile, right? My ID is reflecting here. So this much code is working fine. Now, this is the only record which is present inside this table named users. Let's hit this delete profile button and see whether the profile will get deleted from this table or not. See, the profile has got deleted now. Now there is nothing inside this table. So that's how you can delete the profile permanently. Now, one thing which is missing is once the user is done with deleting the profile, I would like him to get redirected on, we should get redirected him on which screen? Sign in or sign up?
So on sign up screen, it was
Absolutely
deleted.
right. We need to redirect him on the sign up screen so that if he want, he can again create his profile on the platform. Where is that set screen block? Yeah, this is the one. So we can define it over here. And the name of the screen of the sign up screen is screen 3. Okay, let's now run this app one more time and see whether we are going to get the desired output or not. So here I go, gaurav@gmail.com, gaurav123, hitting this login button. I'm able to log in. Why am I not able to log in into this app? Is anything missing? Achha, the changes are getting saved right now. Just a second. I need to reset this app. Need to refresh this code one more time. Sorry, I got disconnected. All of you, please put yourself on mute. Who's there on unmute right now? Please put yourself on mute, dear. Karina, please put yourself. Faz, please put yourself on mute, dear. What is happening here? Okay, so
Excuse me, sir.
I'm coming back on the data browser table. Let me just delete this table. Okay, and I'm going to run this app one more time. Let's create a profile first with this ID. So I'm able to log in into this app. This gaurav@gmail.com is also visible to me. Now let's hit this delete profile button. So the information has gone disappear. Now what is the issue? The ID and the password with which I created the profile, they are still visible to
Is
me,
now
right?
also visible.
I need to get rid of this. So for that, what we can do, we can again make use of these two lines of codes which we have defined here. Okay, and we need to put it inside the uneven block which we have defined for this delete record, right? This is going to help us. Now I'm going to show you some magic. Let's run this app. And so a table with name users is going to get reflected over here. Here is the information. Let's now enter the information over here for login into this app. ID is visible to us. Let's now hit this delete profile button. The profile has got deleted, right? The information is now no more there in this users table. Now I'm going to create one more profile with the same ID, and let's see whether we'll be able to create the profile again with the same ID and password or not. We are able to create it now. Now what is the issue here? the email ID and the password which we used for creating the profile earlier, they are already getting reflected over here. Okay, we need to get rid of this also. So we need to again come on this coding part, reset this app, and we need to copy all the 4 lines of code which we have defined over here for the logout button and put it over here inside the on event block which we have defined for this delete profile. That's how you need to find out where is your code lagging, what is the mistake you are doing. Okay, testing is the most important part. Once you are done with creating an app, test it fully. Okay, so that the user should find it very interesting. Okay, now let's come on this screen too. So we are done with defining the code for the logout and delete profile button. Now I'm going to tell you how can we import the images and get the same reflected on this image button which I am defining over here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, who's this?
Sir Hiren.
Yes, Irene.
Sir, I want to ask one thing that, sir, if the user has already registered himself or herself in the app, then how he can redirectly sign in?
He can redirectly sign in like this. If suppose
No,
you,
sir. If he had signed in already in the app and he want to sign in again,
how can anyone do that here? If
no,
he
sir,
is,
that the app should ask that have you signed in before? If the user has signed in before,
so if the
sign up
user,
before.
see, if the user already has his profile on this platform, he can just hit the sign in with option. So he's going to get redirected on the sign screen, and here he can put
Okay.
his login credentials. I think I've already told you about this in the second lecture. Okay.
Actually, sir,
Okay.
I don't remember. And sir, second thing that if I want to forgot the password, so sir, when I forgot password submit, then when my account is being updating the record, when the record
Hiren,
is getting up.
Hiren, hold on for a moment. I'm going to take your issue afterwards. You just let me finish with my part, okay, first, and after that, I'm going to take your issue. So here I'm going to define, I have defined an image button. Okay, now how can we upload the images on this code.org platform? That's what I would like to tell you first. So what you have to do, you have to
So we
select
need to
the,
use photo select.
you have to select, no, you have to select this image button, and in this properties you need to come down in this properties section. So here you will get to see this image option. Now you need to tap on this choose option, and then you can upload all the relevant files using this upload file button. So let's upload some 2 or 3 images on this platform, which I have got on my desktop. So this is the first one I am uploading. And remember the names of the images which you are uploading, because with this name only, suppose you have uploaded, you are done with uploading this image. Now, what is the name of this image with which it has got saved on this platform? The name of this image is d1.png. And with this name only, you can pull it on any component which you have defined on your app. Remember this thing. So the first image is d1.png. Let's now upload two or three images more. I am uploading this one. The name of this image is d-2.png. Let's upload this one. So it is d3.png. Let's now upload one more image. Okay, this is the fourth one I'm uploading. So the name of the first one is d1.png. The name of the second one is d-2.png. Third is d3.png, and fourth one is dining-4.png. Okay. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to come here on this data part. Okay, and here I am creating a table with name dining table. So this, okay, let's create a table with name dining. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to write down the name of the table here, and when you will hit this add button automatically a table with name dining will get created. And here inside it, you have to define a column name in which you want to save all the names of the images. So the name of the column which I am defining over here is images. Fine. What is the name of the first image? I think it is d1.png. Okay, if you will write down the name of the image here, and if you will try to save it by hitting this add row button, will it be possible for you to save it directly or not? Let's check it out. So we are getting an error over here. Value must be Boolean, number string. Make sure to include quotes for a string like this. So why it is not accepting this name? Because it is a string type of value. What is a string? It is a combination of 2 or more characters. So now here it is a combination of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. So we need to enclose it into double inverted quotes. Then only it will accept the name. Otherwise it is not going to accept the name. See, now I'm able to add the name successfully. Similarly, if you want to add the name of the second image, what is the name of the second image? Can anyone help me with the name of the second image? I think it is
d2.png.
d-2.png. Right.
Yes.
The name of the third image. What is the name of the third image? I think d3.png. Right.
d3.png.
Added. And similarly, what is the name of the fourth image? Dining. .png. We need to write down here the complete name along with the extension.
Yes.
Okay, so we are done with saving the names of all the 4 images over here. Now, how can I get them reflected on this image button? That's what I would like to show you. Let's come back on this coding section, and I'm going to enlarge the size of the screen so that the code can be more visible to you. Now,
are we going to make use of those read records?
Absolutely right. We are going to make use of those read records. So I'm going to put this on event block over here first.
And then set image URL.
Absolutely right. Now, this on event block, I'm going to define it for this image button. That is image 4. Okay, and here, when the user will hit this image 4, what should happen? I would like to fetch the records from the table with name dining. This is the table. Okay, from where I would like to fetch the records. Dining. Now, when the user will hit this image button, what should happen? Because right now we are trying to get the image reflected on this image button. How can we do that? By making use of set image URL. You guys can do that. Where is that set image URL? This is the one. We can put it over here like this. And just because we have put this set image URL inside this for loop, so that is the reason this is the thing which is going to help us now in order to fetch the required information from the columns of this table named dining.
Yes.
Okay, what is the name of the column in which we saved all the images? The name of the column
Images.
is images. Fine. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this code. What is the ID of this component?
Image 4.
Image 4.
We need to replace this ID with image 4. Now let's run this app and check whether we'll be able to fetch the images on this image component or not. Before that, I would like to make this screen the default screen. So for doing that, because I don't want to go through all the process, all those steps, sign in, sign up. I just want to work on this component. So that is the reason I'm making this the default screen. Now, when you will run this app, this is the first screen which is going to get reflected over here. Now, I am not able to fetch the image. Why is it happening? It is happening just because the image, if there is nothing in the image button, so it will not get enabled automatically. Remember this thing. So we need to enable it first. Either you can enable it by putting some image inside that image component. Or what you can do, you can replace this image4 with the ID of this component, that is ID. Now when you will hit this ID button, this is the code which is going to get executed, and you will get to see the image over here. So no, this is the magic of coding. This is how you can define the code. If you are not able to get the input from any component, okay, so you can make use of some other component. Now what is the component I'm making use of for fetching these records? This label box. This label box with ID that I have defined over here on this mobile simulator. I'm making use of this for fetching the images. Now, how can I fetch all the images? You know, there are 4 images which I want to see
Sir,
here
sir,
on this image button.
sir,
That's what I would like to tell you in the next class. I'm not going to cover
okay,
it in
sir.
this class. I'm going to cover it in the next class. Now you guys can go
Okay,
ahead and
sir.
ask your queries if you
Sir,
have.
I have a doubt.
Yes, please go ahead, dear.
Yes, sir. So what if there are 4 to 5 buttons with same function and we have to place it on the different screen in a shortcut manner?
But the IDs will be different, na dear? The IDs will be different, na? This is the role of ID. If you have got,
Yes, sir.
there can be, it is not possible for you to have 2 or more components with same IDs. Okay,
Okay.
on JavaScript platform, it is not possible. If you will define 2 or more components with same IDs, what is going to happen? This JavaScript platform, it is going to throw an error. Okay, and
Okay.
until and unless you will change the IDs, you will not be able to get the desired result.
Sir, can't we here there is a on event tab and there is a place named ID. So can't we place 2 or more IDs and separate them with a comma?
Can't we? No, we cannot do that. Let's try it. Let's try it out. You want me to do it like
Okay.
this? ID of this image, it is image4. You want me to do it like this?
Yes.
So let's see whether we can do it like this or not.
Yes, sir, it's showing error.
See? Anna? So you
Yeah.
can define an uneven block for only one component at a time. It was an
Okay, sir.
excellent question, by the way. It was a very nice question. Anyone else would like to ask something?
Sir, I.
Yes, Irene.
Sir?
I want to
Yes.
ask that, sir, in that, including that. So, sir, we don't have put the name of the image.
We haven't put the name of the image. Because we are pulling it from a table, not here. That's why we don't have to put the name of the image. Because we have made use of this.
Sir.
Irene, do one thing.
I am asking that read
Irene,
after dining.
whatever your query is, just write down on your WhatsApp and send it to me on my respective number. I'm going to take it in the next lecture. And Shrijita, you also, if you have any query, just send it to me on my respective WhatsApp number. I'm going to take it in the next lecture, because you know time is very less, so it won't be possible for me to answer your queries now. Fine. And in case if any one of you have any kind of query, kabhi bhi, just write it down somewhere, jot it down somewhere while you are attending the lecture. Just keep in your mind or jot it down somewhere, and after that you can send it to me on my WhatsApp number. I'm going to take all your queries in the beginning first, and after that I'm going to begin the lecture. Fine. For now,